A 9-year-old girl cried for help as her stepmother beat her and her little brother. She begged for mercy, but there was none. Then, unexpectedly, their father walked into the house, and what happened next shocked everyone. Marcus Johnson sat alone in his cold office on the top floor of City Tower. The large glass windows showed the city below, busy and alive, but his heart felt quiet and empty. At 40 years old, he was one of the richest men in the city. His name carried power. His signature built empires. But none of that wealth filled the hollow space inside him. His desk was neat. Too neat. Files arranged perfectly. Gold pen aligned beside his laptop. Everything in order, yet his mind was far from calm. He stared at a framed photograph on his desk, Sarah and the children, taken years ago when life still felt warm. Sarah had been his world. Her laughter filled every room. Her voice softened his hardest days. Together they had Mary, their first daughter, a little girl with curious eyes and a bright spirit. Then came baby James, 8 months old, still learning to sit up, still discovering the world. Then tragedy struck. Sarah died shortly after giving birth. No matter how many expensive doctors tried, no matter how many prayers were whispered, she never opened her eyes again. The house that once sang with life fell into silence. Marcus buried himself in work. He stopped coming home early. Stopped reading bedtime stories. Stopped noticing the way Mary would wait by the window, hoping to see his car arrive. "I have to stay strong," he kept telling himself. But strength turned into distance. Distance turned into neglect. And that was when Veronica walked in. Sarah's so-called friend. She arrived with sympathetic eyes and soft words. "Marcus, the children need someone. Let me help." At first, she seemed like an answered prayer. She cooked, cleaned, and smiled sweetly. She held James gently and braided Mary's hair with care. She spoke kindly in Marcus's presence, and slowly, he began to trust her. "She's helping us heal," he thought. He didn't realize he was inviting a storm into his home. Months passed. Work trips became longer. Marcus stopped noticing small changes. The way Mary grew quieter. The way James cried more often. The way Deborah, the elderly housekeeper, seemed constantly worried. But Veronica never behaved cruelly in front of him. Never raised her voice in his presence. In fact, she acted like the perfect stepmother. Until one night, everything changed. After a long business trip overseas, Marcus finished his final meeting earlier than planned. A thought came into his heart, a rare, warm thought. "I'll surprise them." He didn't call. He didn't announce his arrival. He wanted it natural. He wanted to see their reaction when he walked through the door. The mansion gates opened slowly as his car pulled in. The house looked calm, peaceful. But something inside him felt uneasy. He stepped inside. No laughter. No movement. Just silence. Then he heard it. A faint sob. Then another. A trembling voice. "Please, don't hurt me and my brother anymore." Marcus froze. His body went cold. That voice, small, broken, desperate, belonged to Mary. His heart began to pound loudly as he moved quickly down the hallway. Every step felt heavier. Every breath tighter. He stopped when he reached the living room wall. And what he saw shattered him. Mary was curled on the floor, holding baby James protectively against her chest. Her tiny arms wrapped around her brother as if trying to shield him from the world. Her dress was torn. Her knees scraped. Her cheeks wet with tears. James was screaming, his face red, his tiny hands shaking wildly. Standing over them was Veronica. Her eyes were filled with anger and cruelty. Her once gentle voice was sharp and terrifying. "Shut up. I told you both not to disturb me. You worthless children," she snapped. Mary cried harder. "Please, Please don't hit us again." Marcus felt something inside him snap. "Stop!" he roared. Veronica spun around, shocked. Her face changed instantly. The cruelty vanished. The anger melted. In seconds, her expression turned sweet and innocent. "Oh, Marcus," she said softly. "You're home early." Mary ran behind Marcus, clinging to his legs, trembling uncontrollably. Baby James cried into his shirt. Veronica stepped closer, adjusting her blouse, pretending everything was normal. "They were being stubborn," she murmured, "refusing to behave. I'm just teaching them discipline." Marcus said nothing. His eyes moved across Mary's bruised arms. He noticed faint marks on James's legs. Trembling, fear, pain. These were not signs of discipline. These were signs of abuse. He bent down slowly and looked at Mary. "My baby, who did this to you?" Mary looked at him, then turned her eyes briefly toward Veronica, then quickly away. Fear silenced her. Veronica laughed nervously. "Kids dramatize things. You know how children are." Before Marcus could respond, a soft voice came from behind them. "Mr. Johnson." It was Deborah. Her face looked pale. Her hands trembled slightly. Her eyes carried years of quiet suffering. "We need to talk," she whispered. Marcus understood immediately that this moment was no accident. Deborah had been waiting for him to return. He scooped Mary into his arms and held James tightly. The children clung to him as if he were the only safe place left in the world. "Deborah," he said firmly, "watch them. Make them comfortable." Upstairs, he gently cleaned their wounds, fed them, and held them until their breathing calmed. Mary fell asleep curled against his chest. James finally stopped crying. Guilt crashed over him like a wave. How long has this been happening? He straightened and walked back downstairs. Veronica sat calmly on the couch, crossing her legs as if nothing had gone wrong. Deborah stood near the doorway, waiting. "Tell me everything," Marcus said quietly. Deborah's voice shook. "She beats them when you're not around, locks them in dark rooms, starves them, yells at them, threatens them not to tell you. I tried to stop her, sir, but she warned me she'd fire me and ruin my life." Tears filled Marcus's eyes. His hands clenched tightly. Deborah pulled out her phone and showed him the photos she had secretly taken. Bruises, red marks, tearful faces. Proof of cruelty. Proof of his failure. His heart broke again and again. That night, Marcus did not sleep. He sat beside Mary and James, watching them breathe, listening to every small sound, vowing silently, "No one will ever touch you again." And with that promise burning deep inside him, Marcus knew the real battle was just beginning. The morning after Marcus discovered the truth was heavy and slow, as if the mansion itself carried the weight of what had happened. Sunlight filtered timidly through the curtains, touching the bruises on Mary's arms and the soft redness on James's cheeks. Marcus sat beside their beds, watching them sleep, unable to shake the images from the night before. Every breath they took felt like forgiveness he did not deserve. He had failed them once. He would not fail them again. Downstairs, Veronica moved around the kitchen as if nothing had changed, humming quietly, pouring coffee into a pristine mug. Her performance of innocence continued, but Marcus now saw her clearly. The charm, the sweetness, the fake warmth, it was all a mask. When he entered the kitchen, she turned with a gentle smile. "Good morning, sweetheart. You look exhausted. Business trip rough?" He stared at her. "We need to talk." Her smile faltered only for a fraction of a second. "About what?" "About Mary. About James. About what you did to them." Veronica's expression hardened slightly, then softened again. "Marcus, you're letting Deborah poison your mind. She's old, sentimental, protective of the children. They exaggerate things. He slammed his palm on the counter. Enough. The sound echoed through the house, vibrating with years of suppressed anger. I saw the bruises. I saw the fear in their eyes. I heard Mary begging you to stop. Don't insult my intelligence again. For the first time, Veronica's voice lost its sweetness. Children lie, Marcus. They always do. Especially when someone spoils them. His eyes turned cold. You will not touch them again. Starting today, you will keep your distance. Silence fell between them, tense and sharp. Later that morning, Marcus drove Mary and James straight to his lawyer's office. Richard Thomas had been Marcus's trusted legal advisor for over 10 years, the only man who spoke to him with honesty instead of fear. When Richard saw the children, his face grew grave. Tell me everything, Richard said gently. Mary sat quietly, her small hands twisting nervously in her lap. Marcus knelt beside her. You don't have to be afraid anymore, sweetheart. You're safe. Tears welled in her eyes. She hurts us when you go away, Daddy. She hits James when he cries. She makes us stay hungry. Richard looked up at Marcus, and Marcus knew then there would be no turning back. We're fighting for them, Richard said firmly. Full custody. Protective order. Criminal charges if possible. That very afternoon, legal papers were filed. Veronica was matched with one of the city's most aggressive lawyers, Michelle Williams, known for crushing cases and twisting narratives. Her strategy was immediate. Paint Marcus as an emotionally absent father who left everything on Veronica's shoulders. The courtroom became a battlefield. Veronica entered each day dressed perfectly, crying at calculated moments, claiming overwhelmed stress, claiming she only wanted the children to adore her. I disciplined them like a mother would, she sobbed to the judge. Marcus abandoned us emotionally. I carried the weight. But Deborah testified. Neighbors spoke. Medical reports showed repeated injuries. And then came Mary's turn. The courtroom fell silent when the small girl stepped forward. She looked at the judge, then at Marcus, then down at her tiny hands. Her voice trembled, but she spoke. She hurt us, Mary whispered. She locked us in the dark room when we cried. She told me if I told Daddy she would make him leave me forever. The room stilled. I had to protect my brother, she continued, tears rolling down her cheeks. Because he's too little to fight. Even Judge Davis swallowed hard. Veronica screamed from the back, her calm completely shattered. She's lying. Security restrained her as the judge slammed his gavel. Silence. That moment shattered everything Veronica pretended to be. Judge Davis granted Marcus immediate full custody. Veronica was banned from the property and ordered to face criminal investigation for child abuse. Outside the courtroom, Mary clung to Marcus's arm. James slept on his shoulder. It's over now, Marcus whispered. I promise you. But deep inside Marcus knew, escaping abuse was one battle. Healing from it would be another. That night, as he tucked Mary into bed, she looked up at him with quiet hope. Daddy. Yes, sweetheart. Is she ever coming back? Marcus brushed her hair gently. No. She can never hurt you again. Mary nodded slowly and closed her eyes. He turned off the light and stepped out, his heart aching and grateful all at once. The nightmare had been exposed. Now the journey toward healing had truly begun. Weeks passed after the court ruling, but peace did not arrive overnight. Emotional scars do not disappear just because danger is removed. Mary still woke in the middle of the night, gasping from nightmares, clutching her blanket as if expecting hands to pull her away again. James cried at sudden sounds, startled by every raised voice. Marcus stayed awake many nights sitting beside their door, listening to their breathing, afraid of sleeping too deeply. Every bruise he'd failed to notice haunted him. Every moment he chose work over them replayed inside his thoughts. He finally understood. Love was not money, not power, not luxury. Love was presence. He changed everything. His office inside City Tower was converted into a remote workspace. Meetings became video calls. Business trips vanished from his schedule. He built his days around school pickups, bedtimes, and shared dinners. Slowly, the children began to relax. Laughter returned in small doses at first, quiet giggles during cartoons, shy smiles over breakfast pancakes, hesitant joy while playing outside. One afternoon, Marcus led them into the backyard where he had begun creating a small flower garden in memory of Sarah. "This is for your mommy," he said gently. Mary knelt beside him, pressing tiny seeds into the soil. "She would like this, right?" Marcus nodded. "She would love it." As seasons changed, so did their healing. Marcus hired a child therapist and attended every session with them, refusing to ever let them feel abandoned again. He listened when they spoke. He apologized when he faltered. He learned patience. One evening, as sunlight painted the room gold, Mary sat beside him on the couch. "Daddy." "Yes, my brave girl. Are we a happy family now?" His heart trembled. "Yes, Mary. We are rebuilding one together." She wrapped her small arms around his neck. That hug lasted far longer than words could describe. James toddled over, laughing, pressing his cheek against Marcus's chest. In that moment, Marcus knew, redemption is built through presence, not perfection. Months later, Deborah returned to the house, now as a loving helper without fear, trusted again. The once cold mansion felt warm, alive, safe. One afternoon, Marcus stood watching his children run through the sunlight, hearing pure laughter echo through the yard. And for the first time in years, he forgave himself. He hadn't been perfect, but he chose to become better. The lesson of this story. Sometimes the ones we trust wear perfect smiles, but hide storms behind closed doors. Sometimes children suffer in silence, believing their pain is normal. But when even one brave voice rises, truth finds its way into light. Real strength is not in wealth or power. It's in listening to the cries no one else hears. It's in protecting the innocent when fear tries to silence them. A broken family can heal when love finally chooses to show up. Question for you. What did this story teach you about trust, courage, and parenting? Have you ever witnessed silent suffering that needed someone brave to stand up? Tell us in the comments. We read every single one. And remember, the smallest voice can stop the loudest cruelty. The weakest hands can carry the strongest truth.